Hi, my name's Finley, I'm 13. I'm interested in going on this course called Wolf Pack. I don't really know what it's about, that's why I'm talking to Chris. I'm just interested for my sake and for your sake, whoever's watching this, about what it's all about. So, hi Chris, how are you?
Very well, thanks Finn. Thanks for having me on your programme.
What's Wolf Pack about?
I'd say it's about your path to manhood is what it's really about. Now, you don't hear that talked about very often, at least I think, and not directly. There's lots of confusion really about what being a man is. I hear this spoken about. It's not something school really concerns itself with, and it's not something the community often knows much about. So it's kind of a bit of a grey area, it seems, which is a bit of a shame. And a mistake has been to assume that it will happen automatically. It does not. You can't drift through school and jobs and house and family and expect it to somehow turn up. I think you need to go out and you need to discover it. You need to win it. I think you need to become a warrior. Not to like fight people. It's not other people's expense. But you need to win some iron, by getting away from some of those comfortable, convenient, easy shortcuts. You need some wisdom that comes from gaining meaningful experiences, especially outdoors. And you need some fire that comes from learning to walk your own path rather than doing what other people tell you to do, And there are many ways to do this, but the 100,000-year-old method, which still works, is to get up into the mountains and into the woods, often with a band of fellow adventurers and with maybe a guide, someone to guide and advise you a little bit when you need it. Yeah. But once you start letting go of those hands that you don't need to hold anymore, start to experience freedom. And that is what Wolfpack is wanting to contribute to. What
do we actually get up to?
Ha! Straight to the point. I like your style. You're right. The way we do it is through, in 2 words, I'd say it's outdoor adventures. Ooh. Right? So do you want more detail on that? Or do you want just the 2 words?
Just 2 words, please.
Outdoor adventures. Outdoor adventures. It's it happens all in the stories, doesn't it? Yeah. No one stays in the village and stays at home. Yeah. They get out there. Yeah. And the best way to find what, then they find what they want in life. They find what they want to do in life. Yeah. And that you can take that as a story, or you can do it literally. It's the best way. All sorts of things happen when we take ourselves into interesting places and do stuff which we don't normally get to do. Interesting things are guaranteed to happen.
I've had a bit of a look at your leaflet, link in description below. I saw a fire quest. I was like, whoa, it's a fire quest.
Well, it's something we'll lead up to and do at the very end of the experience after 6 months. We start in April, we end in October. We'll do the fire quest and that. And that is a very, very old I want to say ritual, but that often scares people off. There's nothing weird about it. But it's something that's been done all over the world in almost every single indigenous culture for as far as anyone's ever looked into it. This is what it's a universal thing. Yeah. And it's quite simple, but it involves tending a fire through the night by itself. Not entirely, away from everyone. But so you're dealing with a lot of the by yourself. You won't have had that much food. You're in the woods. It's dark. It's maybe cold. You will be equipped through the program to really be able to take that by the horns. But it's one of these things that sounds a bit dry to try and explain it. But and because when I'm sitting in a chair thinking about something, it's very different to actually being out there and in it. It's a very healthily challenging. It's not a test. It's a very rewarding, challenging experience, and a lot of things can happen during that night. A lot of things can go on.
A question that's been lingering in my mind for a while, ever since I found out about it and wanted to go on it, was should I come when I'm 13 or should I go when I'm 15, 16?
Yeah, I know this is a big question for people who are thinking about it. I'm not interested in a kiddie camp vibe. No one who's coming along. You, I don't suppose, are interested in some kind of kiddie camp vibe where we're all running around. This is about, I'll be treating you all as fellow grown-ups as much as I possibly can, as much as you'll let me. So there's not that kiddie camp vibe. So there's not the sort of school dynamics going on.
Yeah.
There's not the class. Instead, what a nicer thing happens. The older ones, they automatically have a certain. They're setting the example for the younger ones. That's what older people do, whether they like it or not. They'll inadvertently mentoring, and there's something very rewarding that comes from that. And the younger ones, often you don't get the chance to be around older ones, and there's a benefit to be gained from that too. Yeah. So with all the kind of classroom, playground silliness is not present because it's not what Wolfpack is about at all. Yeah. Age very quickly doesn't matter anymore. There's just an interesting shaped group, which everyone tends to get something out. That's always how I see it go.
What do you hope that boys will get out of the experience, and why do you do it?
I am not interested in trying to prescribe what you are going to get out of it.
Yeah.
It's not for me. But I can certainly lead you out there and create opportunities and experiences for you to get things out of it. Now, what I would hope, though, hope is a good one. What would I hope? You'd gain self-reliance, self-knowledge, experience. Now, these are really, really important tools. And, if we're using the man theme, I mean, it's a theme. It's not really, there's no point where you turn into a man, right? But self-knowledge, self-reliance, and a dose of experience means you just don't need to obey other people's rules anymore. You just start making up your own rules. And that's what I hope for. Freedom. I think I said that at the start. It's freedom. I wish for you to have as much freedom as you can possibly want for yourself, which is why do I do it? Yeah. You might notice I'm getting a little bit excited about this.
Yeah.
I had a lot of my own adventures outdoors, mountaineering and rock climbing and woods and rivers, and I love it. Yeah, I still have them. But the other thing, I mentioned warrior. I don't know if that struck with you or warrior. Ultimately, the warrior serves his village, his community. Yeah. That's the kind of man I want to be. Yeah. And it is very rewarding to lead people into these situations and help you have those things I was talking about, I was hoping for. Get that freedom. That is massively satisfying thing for a person me to do.
But now listening to you and telling me all about it, it's kind of changed my perspective. I've kind of discussed everything I wanted to discuss. I mean, from when I started this, I had a sort of a clue. And I'm super pumped to go.
Because there are two wolf packs, right? There's the one you're going on, the one which is run by Wildwise and led by me.
Yeah.
It is entirely in Devon, which is a pretty varied landscape. There's the other wolf pack is the one that is organised by me and led by me and is in Sussex and also visits the Peak District in Derbyshire and also Devon. Okay. And so it travels around a few different areas, but essentially it's the same because it's me doing it. Yeah. And that will have a very common flavour. But so not to be confused whether you there are two wolf packs. There's the Wild Wolf Pack and the Sussex Wolf Pack, and you can see them both downstairs. My website.
Yeah, it'll be in the description.
Contact me. Because anyone wants any questions after seeing this, and they can contact me, email, phone, and I can talk them through.
Yeah, it's all in the description below, your phone, your email, and that sort of things. So, Chris, I'll be seeing you in the woods soon. Goodbye. Good day. Cheerio.
Bye. See you in the woods.